Hey guys, the beast ruled for 42 months, 1,260 days, 3.5 years. Everybody's saying that there's a beast now and the mark of the beast now. This beast only ruled for 3.5 years. And it's so plain that the beast ruled from 66 AD to 70 AD. How long was the war until the temple was torn down? The Jewish revolt, the first Jewish-Roman war. It was from 66 AD until 70 AD. Jesus said, he said he wept. They said he wept over the city, and he said, there's coming a time whenever your armies will compass thee round and lay a trench about you and keep you in on every side and lay you even with the ground because you didn't understand the time of your visitation. He said, your house is left to you desolate. The abomination of desolation clearly is whenever you see the armies encamped about Israel, look up, for your redemption draws nigh. Get out of Jerusalem, because there's going to be tribulation. Flee into the mountains. Get out of Judea. 66 AD, the armies came about Israel. And in history, it says that a voice came up in the temple that said, get thee hence. And it says that the glory cloud sat over top of the temple. But whenever the armies came about Israel, the glory cloud moved into the mountains. This is Satan being cast out of heaven in 66 AD under the sixth seal, the stars falling from heaven. How do we know that it was at that time? Because Revelation chapter 12 says that Christ was caught up to the throne. Israel births Christ. Christ is caught up to the throne. There's war in heaven. Michael and his angels fight against the dragon. Whenever Satan sees that he's cast out of heaven, as Jesus said, he said, now is the time that the prince of this world should be cast out. Satan's cast out of heaven, and he goes to make war with the children of God. But the glory cloud moved into the mountains, and the children of God followed it. The ones who believed got out of Judea and went into the mountains, where they have a place prepared for themselves that they should be nourished for 1,260 days from the face of the serpent. So they're up here, where the devil can't touch them, because they're in the mountains under the cloud. This is also, he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way, and then the man of sin can come. God was taken out of the temple, and then the man of sin came and sat in the temple of God. Satan made war with the rest of the seed who did not flee out of Jerusalem. The beast ruled for 42 months. He was given power to continue 42 months. Okay? That's 3.5 years. The same amount of time that they fled into the wilderness. The same amount of time that you had two witnesses still in Jerusalem preaching. Okay? 3.5 years. All these things happen. It's no coincidence that it was destroyed after 1,260 days, after 3.5 years. There's no coincidence that that's how long the war lasted. That's how long the beast ruled. It said it plainly. Okay, we see Satan being cast out of heaven, right? The next thing you see, a new chapter isn't a new year or something. They didn't even have chapter and verse. This was just a letter. We put chapters and verses in there to make it easier. But Satan's cast down, chases them into the wilderness. They're there to be nourished underneath the glory cloud in the mountains. And for 1,260 days. And then we see the dragon standing on the sand of the sea, and a beast comes up out of the sea. And the dragon gives him his power and his authority to rule for 42 months. And then the beast is destroyed, the false prophet or the second beast, whatever. And the temple in Jerusalem, the church in Jerusalem, Mystery Babylon, is destroyed also. All these things are plain, guys. You hear people talking about the 7 churches in Asia being time dispensations. It's 7 churches in Asia. John, write in a letter and send it to the 7 churches in Asia. In Asia. Those churches aren't there anymore. God removed their candlestick, as he said he would. These aren't the Laodicean churches now and this back then. Everybody's making the Bible so difficult because they're trying to fit all these things in and factor them in. And it really makes you believe that it's okay to deceive. You think that Jesus deceived everybody whenever he said this generation won't pass until all these things are fulfilled, and heaven and earth will pass away in this generation. Whenever he said that a sign of his coming and the end of the age was their house being left unto them desolate, the abomination of desolation, the armies encamped about Israel. Whenever he said, some of you standing here won't taste death until you see him coming in the clouds and in his kingdom, whenever he will reward every man according to his works. Whenever James said that the coming of the Lord was nigh. Whenever Jesus said that they will not have gone over the cities of Jerusalem before the Son of Man be come. All these things. All these things, and you not believing it makes you feel like it's okay for you to deceive people too. It makes you feel like you were deceived and that these people are deceivers and that they gave you some book that is impossible to understand. So you're okay with not understanding, and you're okay with telling people that it's okay to not understand. Whenever that's not true. He gave you, you have anyway, he gave them letters that were easy to understand. And you have this book that is so easy to understand with proof upon proof upon proof of all these things. Okay, 3.5 years was 3.5 years. It's that simple. You're trying to turn it out into all these other things. The beast is this and the beast is that. Satan was cast out of heaven, as Jesus said. Whenever Jesus was taken up, there was war in heaven. Satan was cast out, and he chased him into the wilderness. 1,260 days. That's plain. That's not 1,260 years. That's not anything like that. All these things are simple. Whenever Jesus said, some of you standing here aren't going to taste death, he meant it. But whenever you make him out to, you try to overly spiritualize everything to make it to where he fits into your belief system, and you make it like Jesus was deceiving everybody. So that makes you feel like, hey, it's okay to deceive people. It's okay to give prophecies and be wrong about them. It's okay to have a church and tell people something that just isn't right. It's not okay. Everything in there is plain to understand. It's so simple.